Disclaimer: the content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. It's Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. It's part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Kalshi. You know what it is. This is the show where we cover the latest and greatest stories from gambling Twitter, and we had a pretty eventful weekend of things to cover on the show today. I am your host on this channel. My name is Jacob Gramegna. I'm also a creator and producer here with the Hammer Betting Network, in the house as normal. For your Monday live shows at 1 p.m. Eastern, every Monday is CEO of the Hammer Betting Network, professional sports bettor, that is Rob Pizzola. In the middle, we have seasoned basketball bettor, specializes in NBA and WNBA. It's Kirk Evans, also does a lot of work for our newsletter here at the Hammer, which you can check out the link in the description. And to round off the four, it is, of course, Geoff Fienberg, avid golf bettor and enthusiast, Chargers super fan, and a bit of a bittersweet weekend, I'd say, sporting-wise for yourself, but we'll... the Chargers lost, but your Europe bet did very well for the Ryder Cup, which will be our leadoff topic. But how's everyone doing today? How'd everyone handle the eventful weekend of sports?
Loved it on my end. Blue Jays win the AL East, which was huge. I don't think the Dome has been rocking as loud as it was yesterday in quite a long time. So I'm excited for playoff baseball. None of it will matter in 2 weeks if they get booted, but it's playoff baseball regardless. Ryder Cup. We'll talk that. I thought was extremely eventful, entertaining. Football, tons of stories. I did notice off the top, though, how Jacob did not introduce you as a seasoned NFL bettor. And I've been getting a lot of tags on Twitter about your resignation, Kirk, because the Vikings, they did not look good over season Dublin yesterday.
Look, Vikings are 2-2. A lot of injuries early season. They can win the division. They can win the Super Bowl.
I mean, the Ravens are 1-3. They could win the Super Bowl still.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to write an intro for myself.
You don't like my intro?
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just we're going to streamline it like you guys. We're just going to...
One of my favorite parts of the routine of this show,
yeah,
for me every week, which I forget about every time we start the show, is watching you for 30 seconds as Jacob introduces you, because he used to just come off the cusp with some like random stuff and you would be very confused as to where it came from, but it's like you're on like the knife's edge when he's doing the intro of like, what's this guy gonna say this time?
It's all right.
Yeah,
shout out.
You're gonna write your own intros for yourself now?
No, there's just...
You want it to just be like the same one every time.
Yeah, that's fine. Shout out to his Giants. They got the better of him.
Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. Shout out to that.
Shout out to MetLife Turf.
Jackson Dart had what, like 17 yards passing in that game?
I think it was 86.
Yeah.
It's 86 more than Hurts had in the second half of
turnovers.
The game.
2 big picks. I don't even bet the Chargers, to be honest, but I do bet Herbert no interceptions. So
yeah,
that was a loss.
Dexy Dexy.
The interceptions.
I wish he got in. Oh my God.
It's like
Dexter
over like
Lawrence
140, 50 yards of penalties. Like 14
yeah, it was
penalties.
crazy.
So
14 for like 117 yards.
The Giants, I don't know how good or bad the Giants are, but the Chargers,
they're bad.
I mean, no one can overcome whatever. The Chargers aren't good enough to shoot themselves in the foot like that and beat anybody. They sucked.
I think in our Circles Off chat yesterday, I think it was Jason that posted like, this could be the worst day ever for Geoff.
Why?
And it was when the Chargers had lost and US was
USA
mounting
was
like this huge comeback at that point. I was following the Kalshi market in real time. At one point it got down to like 70% Europe in the afternoon. I'm like, this is like quite dicey. But
I think a lot of that market had tie in it, right? Which
there's a tie as well, which was like 15% tie,
Yeah.
15% US.
Yeah.
Something around those numbers. But just another example of like, I mean, you could do this with any sports book or whatever, but the probability wise, it's really easy to just like focus on that in real time. it's like a secondary screen experience for a sporting event, which is, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll definitely use like any sports book to see. Like yesterday for the Ryder Cup, I was using it to see like, okay, there's so many sports on. Like, should I have it on a screen?
Yeah.
And then as it started to get close, then I put it on.
Well, I am a probabilities guy and I'm a numbers guy, but it was taking a back. I won't say it was taking a back seat, but it was like a second screen experience, Ryder Cup for me while I'm watching Red Zone as well. I didn't have the volume on for Ryder Cup, so I truly didn't realize like how close it was. And I'm starting to get a bunch of messages like U.S. is going to do this, and you get like a skewed perception when that happens. And then I'm looking at the live markets. I'm like, well, they're probably actually not going to do this. They're still quite a ways away, but it was entertaining, man. It really was. It was a great weekend of sports altogether. Plus, we had all sorts of bad beats in the NFL, college football, and I mean China. Wouldn't say that they were bad beats, but
well, we're going to talk about it. Okay. We do have it queued up on the show today, but we do want to open with the Ryder Cup and Team Europe, of course, winning the Ryder Cup. Geoff was banging the drum for Team Europe for the last couple of weeks. So
Rob will tell you a year.
A year. So
like
maybe even longer.
I annoy a shit out of like the people closest to me like a lot. I don't care about much, but when I care about something, I care about it like way too much. And yeah, for anyone like over a year, I was trying to warn Americans for like what was probably gonna happen, despite the odds.
I concur. This did happen.
On
Factually.
record,
Yeah,
we've
on
had
record.
it for the last couple of weeks, at the very least.
Yeah.
But hey, you've been parading them for a while, and they do come away with the win. The first time a road team has won since 2012. A couple of stories that we saw from the tournament. First of all, Victor Hovland missed out on the last day of action with a neck injury, which I guess rewarded Europe with a tie, so half a point. And this angered a lot of people, like Dave Portnoy, who said because Victor Hovland slept on his neck awkwardly and couldn't play, Europe was gifted a free half point that won them the Ryder Cup. Sick league. He did get community noted because the context was that Europe won the Ryder Cup 15-13. If they had not gotten this half point, it would have been 14.5 to 13.5, and Europe still would have won. This is a rule that's been in place since the 70s and benefited the U.S. directly in 1991. Another story was Justin Rose and getting into a little bit of beef with Bryson DeChambeau's caddy because his caddy was kind of really like standing, not in his way, but like directly in his eye line, and he was trying to line up a putt. Justin Rose reacted rudely, which he admitted. The caddy was wrong, which he admitted, and Bryson defended his caddy, which just led to a bit of a situation that got the crowd kind of like whoa, what's going on here? Rory McIlroy and his wife were subject to some verbal and I think at one point physical abuse when someone threw a drink at Rory McIlroy's wife. And there was somebody on site who said, as someone who was at the Ryder Cup, the things being yelled at Rory simply weren't acceptable. It's not about Rory needing to have thick skin. It's about fans crossing the line. And Chipper Jones, former MLB player,
I did not see this.
Quoted this and said, I played in New York 12 to 15 times a year for 20 years. Chipper Jones is a very good baseball player. I think he won an MVP at one point. I think in like 2000. Anyways, at no time in 2 decades was my family ever allowed to go to a game in New York. What do you expect to happen? Is it right? No, but when you're public enemy number one, expect to be treated harshly. And then the last thing we have, Rufus Peabody, very sharp sports bettor, said, Team USA pairing their best 2 players, Scotty and Bryson, in a 4-ball when they're down 5 points, meaning they should be embracing variance is just so bad. In fact, the only time pairing your best 2 players in a 4-ball makes an ounce of sense is if you have a huge lead. So I don't know where you guys wanted to start with this, kind of loaded you guys with topics, but Geoff, what was your kind of biggest takeaway from the weekend?
I don't know. Where do you guys want to start?
So I'll just say for me, I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter yesterday about
The tie? Can we just get the tie out of the way?
Yeah,
Like,
sure,
it's
let's
not even
start
a
on
conversation.
The Victor Hovland part.
Like, it's a nothing.
Who cares?
Like, it's U.S. has used it to their advantage in the past. If you can't play, it's they have a guy, it's a tie. If we want to resolve it, then maybe we consider bringing like an alternate in the future.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a stupid rule, though. in my opinion.
It's stupid that it can end in a tie, but I don't think that it's stupid. Golf is a gentlemanly game. There's no way a European Ryder Cup player is like dodging an opportunity to play. Like full stop, zero.
100%.
He got scratched from the afternoon pairing the day before.
It is like a disgrace. Like he probably feels like horrified to have not to have had to do that, and it's just part of golf, and it's been part of this thing forever.
But it's a moot point, guys. Like, let's say the U.S. won that match. Okay, they would have ended in a tie, 14-all.
No, they wouldn't have.
But that's taking out the half point. Like, let's say they actually played and it wasn't all square. Actually, would have been 14. It doesn't matter.
It would have been 14 out, 13.
It's just sour grapes. It literally doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things.
Where does some Harris English beating anybody?
I know. Back
no, I'm just like, let's just go. Like, it's not like it's a guarantee of any outcome. I think it's sort of being overblown. If you like, an easy solution is just like everyone. There's a 13th man there in case of emergency.
Sure. Agreed. The only thing, like in the NFL, when like their teams would start like holding every player to end the game because the game could end on a penalty. If taken to the most extreme, like Europe could have done that. They never would have. Never, obviously.
It's just
and this is a total nothing burger,
that.
but it's just a bad rule.
It's a bad rule, but like, it's just there's no way that there was funny business here. At all. Victor, I believe it was in Philly at the Truist this year. He's had a bit of a neck situation for the year. It's flared up at a bad time. And then the notion of like, whatever. I think it's a whole nothing with an easy fix.
Agreed. My biggest thing, now obviously I'm predominantly seeing tweets that are pro-American. I think most people I follow are American, rooting for America, whatever. I noticed a lot of stuff last night about how like this Ryder Cup was a dud and this and that. I actually, like, this is probably very contrarian. I think this was one of the most enjoyable Ryder Cups I've ever watched from start to finish. And I think people think that because there was, like, Europe got out to such a big lead and held it for so long that there wasn't enough drama. But I actually think that in itself was a lot of drama. Like, seeing something like that happen in real time where they are just draining every putt. Like, an insane strokes gained putting for Europe in the first 2 days was insane, like through the roof. And just seeing that, I think there was tons of drama. Plus the comeback possibility on Sunday, I thought it had it all.
I don't want to litigate. I feel like we're wasting time like litigating like the actual like course or results. Like, I feel like the story here is the surrounding stuff.
Yes, agreed.
Like
that contributes to the drama of it all.
Like the crowd.
Yes.
In many ways. It should be noted that the Sharps, as even Jeff Sherman tweeted, were all in on USA.
Yep.
You know, they drink in the Sloan Kool-Aid that I even warned on this. Like, I'm telling you, that math does not math anymore.
I don't even think that was a factor. Like, in the sense that
if
you watch what Keegan Bradley put out as his lineups, like the combinations of Morikawa and English for the first 2 days, that was Data Golf's worst possible projected pairing for the U.S. And they got put out together back-to-back days. Like, it seemed to me that Europe won the event by having an analytically savvy team. Who was the commentator? Paulie, that was the
which one? McGinley?
McGinley.
Yeah.
That was sitting next to Brad Faxon.
Would have probably been McGinley, the European?
Yes. He kept going over and over how well prepared they thought they were relative to the U.S. for this event. The preparation started long before I wouldn't be surprised if those European putters like knew those greens inside and out, like legitimately studied them to a point where it was almost in the back of their head. Like, the U.S. to me did not approach this event at all in an analytical manner.
The U.S. team, the event doesn't fucking start until like a month before.
Right.
When they pick their team.
Yes.
The U.S. even gets the privilege of playing a President's Cup in the alternate years against International, which, listen, it's not the Ryder Cup, but it is like a light tournament where they can then like co-opt and create a connection where one funnels into the other.
Right.
Except they don't. They're two separate entities. and there's no like coordination between the two. Like the person who captains one should captain the other.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like there's just a lot of things that like US, just because they do not care, and you cannot fake it and you can't manufacture it. And it's okay to lose to someone who cares 100,000 times more than you.
Agreed.
You like do something with your buddy and he like cares so much more and he beats you by 2 points. You're like, it's all you, man.
100%.
Like it's all you.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. At this moment in time, they just care so much. And I'm not saying they win because they care.
Yeah.
But there is something in the institutional infrastructure that works, that they do. And the event as a whole, like I'm telling you, until the back nine of the Masters, like this is a more entertaining golf tournament.
Oh,
I say it and people fight me on it. And I'm like, no, like, are you blind? A dude just told 5,000 people to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree with that take. It was this was the first Ryder Cup I've ever watched, and even though it was a pretty big blowout, it was by far the most entertained I've ever been watching golf. I was so locked in. I kind of put it on the background, and then I like really started focusing in on it. I started cheering for the US because I wanted it to get closer. Like it is an electric tournament. I'd rather watch it than the back nine of the Masters, honestly. But yeah, I think it's pretty embarrassing for the US that like the Rufus tweet about putting them together.
Yeah.
I know nothing about golf. Before I saw this tweet, I posted in a group chat, like, this has to be the dumbest decision I've ever seen. Like a ninth grade kid who
intro to
stats would understand that this was a completely insane decision.
I know I said, like, Rob will tell you, like, in the year, part of every time, like, there's a new person in the mix, and I'm, like, giving them the case for the first time. It's like, no, you do not understand. Luke Donald will be 2 moves ahead every step of the way. Full stop.
Jeff, the first day, I'm not the golf fan that you are, but I'm watching the first day, and I'm like watching Bryson. Okay, first hole, whatever, but we're getting deeper and deeper into the course, and Bryson's like teeing off on holes where he's got to fade a natural fade would be nice. I'm like, this guy hits exclusively draws. Why is he teeing off on like just literally the ordering in which they were teeing off on holes made no sense for half of the U.S. squad. It's like, why are you playing a guy that's predominantly going to have to fade the ball into holes where you're like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I don't think Europe should have, on the merits of the teams, I think they're fairly equal, honestly. If I take a step back, I think they're fairly equal teams. For them to dominate the way that they did in the early going, yes, there's randomness, of course. We can talk about and putting can be very random. They were really hot with the putter, but it seemed like the U.S. just made some catastrophically bad decisions along the way. That made no sense.
Well, also
Everywhere.
it ended what, 15-13?
Yeah. Those are enough to swing it.
Exactly. Like if they make a couple more optimal decisions, it could have easily swung the other way in the final.
The half points, the points, they're everywhere. And they lost them maybe on the margins before the matches. To me, though, I think like the biggest thing out of this is the crowd and the story. And you say it's your first Ryder Cup. This was not normal.
Yeah.
This was a level like so far beyond like the Ryder, even for the Ryder Cup, at least in my opinion. What somehow has happened in the Ryder Cup was where it was like the fun event because you would cheer for bad shots in a way you would never cheer for a bad shot. A guy missed a putt and you would cheer in a way you'd never do in an event. That was sort of like the thing that made this thing go for a bit. And somewhere along the way, it just became into this like vulgarity contest that just makes sort of, I don't know where it happened. It didn't happen in Minnesota. It didn't happen in Wisconsin. I don't know whether those fans, where you go to a town where like college football is the thing, maybe they're just more know how to like deal with the rivalry and like cheering better. I know that might sound weird. I'm not college football. They can say vile shit too, but in a way, they riled up this crowd for 2 years. They almost they wound up the people who were going. And Rory being the face of a team that has whipped your ass for a generation, got it in ways that other guys on the team like certainly weren't getting, despite their ability to perform at a level that on the weekend that was equal to Rory.
Well, you know it's really bad when the home players have to tell the crowd like to settle down, right? Because I know Justin Thomas, a lot of times he would be firing up the crowd, but then you get to points where he's just like, no, like we got to stop doing this stuff. That's how you know it's bad. Like the Chipper Jones tweet here, right? This is just classic like victim blaming, right? It's like, oh, this.
What do you expect?
You brought your
This
wife
girl
to
got
the
sexually
Ryder Cup.
assaulted. She shouldn't have been wearing the clothes that she was wearing when she went out to the nightclub. Like that's victim blaming. You cannot excuse the behavior of people.
Especially at a golf tournament, like that is, what do you expect?
Like throwing
I would never expect
You brought your wife to a
wife.
golf tournament? What were you thinking?
Yeah.
The thing is, they made Rory out to be public enemy number one. Rory is, I don't want like argue, like besides Tiger, like the face of the generation of the sport.
Yeah.
He, Page 6 writes about Rory. They write about like rumored affairs that he, like a bullshit rumor with like a CBS reporter that was like so gross that gets perpetuated. Like he is on a level that even if there are other players that are like just as good, that like it's not like people trying to tell me that like Rory instigates the crowd a bit, that like other guys perform well and they're not getting the heckling he gets because they don't instigate the crowd, I think is total horseshit. I think this crowd was wound up for months and he was made to be the enemy and he's the face of a franchise that's just whipping your ass.
I'm not like going to say that this is... Yeah, I'm not going to say that this was right in any way, but I think the score from the first 2 days contributed to the crowd had like nothing to cheer for literally the first 2 days. It was so quiet on day one. Day two, they're getting their asses to them. I feel like if it was more competitive, you probably would have not got it to the level because the
more respect for the competition that's like the close competition.
Because the Euros are draining putts, like, and they're fucking pointing to the crowd. And again, I'm not saying that, like, there's lines you don't cross. But when that's happening, and like you're an American, you're watching your team get their asses handed to them. The opposing team is having so much fun. You spent like $1,000 for tickets for the day. You got nothing. I can see. I'm not excusing the behavior, but I can see why it escalated to the point it did because they're fucking getting their asses handed to them on home soil. Like the natural human response is "fuck you." You're not American. You don't come here and fucking run your mouth like this.
Like it's also just like an extra handful of bad apples.
Yes.
Yes, every event has bad apples. There's an extra handful here. And by all accounts, people on the grounds, like when they were looking for the people who said something to either kick them out or be like, do you want to go?
Yeah.
And this frat boy's like, no, I'll be like, right? They shiver in their boots when the state trooper like locks eyes with them.
Yeah.
Like the crowds are like, it's him. Like 98% of the people are also like want these losers gone as well. And I feel horribly for like the locals for two reasons. One, because they're just getting a bad rap that these are like Long Island folk who are doing the ratting.
Yeah.
And two, they had to watch that golf course play so fucking easy, be set up so easy that when they play, it'll be like 3 times harder. Like it is just an insult to the locals, and my heart breaks for like the hardo Long Island golf guy who is just getting it from every angle from what happened this weekend.
I know Jacob desperately wants us to move on. I just want to say like one thing about the Bryson caddy situation. I am a Bryson fan. Don't get me wrong. I think that one has been blown so much out of context because, again, I think it's hard for them to envision themselves in that exact situation. I love Justin Rose. He's a great guy. Caddy walks out onto the hole. Justin Rose does not tell him, it's my turn to putt. He says, get the fuck off of the
Hold on a second. Justin Rose is waiting to putt. This isn't like they've taken way too much time reading a line when it's not even their turn.
I'm not suggesting that they haven't. He's absolutely in the right to tell that caddy to move. And I don't care if he tells him to get the fuck off. It doesn't make a difference. But I'm just saying if it was me and it was my caddy that walked into the line and somebody else told him to get the fuck off the green, I'm probably going to take issue with that and approach him afterwards no matter what. So, like, put yourself in the perspective of basically like a friend, somebody you spend as much time with as you do with your wife or your girlfriend, and they're just like being demeaned.
And I'll give it from the other angle.
Yeah.
Bryson's behavior walking from 15 to 16, getting in Tommy Fleetwood's fucking ear. And there's rumors from someone there. I don't know if this is like the most respected him and Rose faces guys on the tour. There's like a report that Tommy said to Bryson, this ain't as easy as YouTube, is it, mate?
That's what I've heard.
I've heard that. I didn't know if it was real or not.
Which is funny too, because Tommy does some YouTube as well. It's like a lot of Grant Horvat stuff. But I get it. I get the
I think, like, to me, that just was awesome. Like, that also completely dug me in. I wanted to watch way more.
Like I said,
I want that stuff to happen.
This is why this event's the best story, Jacob, because last year you wouldn't even, like, it's 2013, we get the thing with Rory and Cantley on the green in Rome. Like, and I said just doing shows last week, like, we're going to get shit that we can never expect. And if you told me today that we're getting, I'd be like, that sounds like a lie. But by the time it's happening on Saturday afternoon, all the ingredients be like, I totally get how that just crazy thing happened.
Of course. There's a lot of emotion, man. There's emotion at play. You put two teams of 12
the
guys
best
together.
all-star game in sports, really.
I agree.
Like, there's not even an all-star game that
nothing,
sniffs
I
it.
agree. So good.
That was too long. Okay, welcome back to people that shot through that 20 minutes. We're back. Welcome to the show.
All right, before we move into our next topic, let's talk about what's coming up later today on the Hammer. Rob, take it away.
Yeah, 5 o'clock Eastern time, Hit the Books. That's over on the Hit the Books channel. Brad Powers, Joey Kanish. Been on a pretty decent run lately. Who knows if it's going to continue. Regardless, very entertaining show. If you're into college football betting, I'm biased definitely as a CEO of the Hammer, but I do think it's by far the best college football show out there. So that's 5 o'clock Eastern time today. And then later on tonight, I'm doing a live watch along of both Monday night football games over on Forward Progress. We're going live at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'll give out picks for the early game, Dolphins and Jets, and then we'll work our way into the late game, Bengals, Broncos. You might even see me lose some Survivor picks live on air tonight, as I'll be rooting for some Broncos Survivor picks. But that's a double watch along tonight, starting 7 p.m. Eastern time on Forward Progress.
Oftentimes with those watch-alongs, Rob likes to give out anytime touchdown bets. And if you had an anytime touchdown bet on this player, you might feel a little bit aggrieved. Now, we'll debate whether or not we would classify this as a bad beat, but A.D. Mitchell, it must have been like an 80-yard pass reception, it turned out to be.
Unbelievable play as
from
well.
Daniel Jones. Great throw by Daniel Jones. A.D. Mitchell skips past the defenders. He is about to cross the goal line, and he starts to celebrate and accidentally drops the ball. And it's not one of those plays where the players drops the ball too early as they start to celebrate and don't even realize it. He was aware he dropped the ball.
Yeah.
He just made a mistake, and it went out the end zone for a touchback.
It's not Deshaun Jackson back in the day. He once he lost the ball, A.D. Mitchell tried to recover.
He knew
in the end,
and he wasn't even really celebrating.
No, he was just like
he back and like kind of changed hands.
He brought the ball up like this to celebrate. I mean, look at his hand placement in the photo.
It's true.
Here.
One hand is out.
He is sticking his hands out. He was
Yeah.
trying to start celebrating. He dropped the football, goes out the end zone for a touchback. The Colts end up losing the game by a touchdown as well. They showed photos of him on the bench. He was absolutely devastated. And you just knew there were people who had some anytime touchdown tickets. One of those people in particular was this user here, the prop father, at the _ prop father, saying, you truly cannot make it up. And it was 2 different tickets of 3 pick parlays where the final leg, it's the same ticket, but bet twice. And he has A.D. Mitchell as the last leg alongside Woody Marks and Hunter Henry. So he ended up losing out on what would have been a $4,000 profit, or just under, on a $75 wager. Again, we can debate whether or not we classify this as a bad beat like we did last week. I'll tell you who doesn't think this is a bad beat. That's China Maniac, who you sometimes see on the Friday edition of Circle Back. Sharp better when it comes to NFL props. And he says, this is something that happens every week in the NFL.
Definitely
We've seen
not.
this before in big situations, and we'll see it again. Players are human and make mistakes, and some would consider this a bad beat, but they literally don't exist. The game is 60 minutes. He had other chances to score, and he just couldn't capitalize. First reply from @Auburn Season says, doesn't happen every week. China says maybe not this exact play situation, but situational awareness in general. It's very common mistake in sports. It's just part of the game. That's why it's not a bad beat. China then doubles down later on. He says, what happens during a game is what counts. What doesn't happen doesn't count. Bad beats don't exist. Bad beats are a mental disorder. And from these circles off group chat we have, China is enjoying his kind of heel turn on this situation, but he has been getting called out a lot. How do we feel on this one, Rob? Because I know you also were an owner of an AD Mitchell ticket.
I was very torn on this one because I had the under in the game, but I had AD Mitchell anytime touchdown. So I lost my bet on the touchdown score here. I got to say, I love China. He's my guy. He's out to lunch on this entire bad beat situation. Like, there are certain things that, yeah, you can say that they happen over the course of a week. You know, team hits a big play, gets called back on a holding. That's part of the game. Like, that's going to happen regularly. A guy dropping the ball as he is crossing the goal line is not a standard football play. You know, like, I could see a guy posting on Twitter, like, supposed to be my wedding day. My fiance called it off. And China responding like, hey, man, that's just part of the dating game. You know, that's just part of dating, you know? It's not. It's really not part of it. This is very clearly, this person, the prop father, is less than an inch away from cashing 2 big-time bets at like 50-1. It's not a standard football play. It's just a freak of nature incident. I don't know how we can say that is not a bad beat.
I agree. And also, yeah, this happens every week. He wrote the same thing in the Circles Back group chat. That's the most egregious of all these takes.
Once a year, and then it makes highlights for the next 20 years and how ridiculous
I would say
it is.
This specific play, especially considering like it wasn't a drop the ball, like it was like a change of arms. Like maybe he was celebrating, but he mostly
he
lost
was celebrating.
The ball. But he lost the ball on the transfer. Like it wasn't like
he's also smart enough to realize that like what happened.
Like Deshaun Jackson put the ball down. Or like release the ball like in a celebration before crossing. Like it was not even close to. So this is a very unique one. But yeah, like it's really sure I can see what China means by like there's no bad beats. I just don't really agree. Like to me, if it's got something completely out of the realm of what you could possibly expect, then it is a bad beat. But again, it's a very hard thing to define. So.
No, but this fits in. I
would agree.
This is a hall of if this happened to you, especially in that situation to cash a big parlay, like this is a Hall of Famer.
I would never forget this.
You will not
Ever.
like and those situations like China, like I said, China plays a lot of. I've interviewed China before on this channel. He plays a lot of volume. You know, in an average college football Saturday, he's got sides, totals, he's got a ton of props going. He probably doesn't even realize some of the stuff that he lost on over the course of a week because at the end of the day, he's just doing accounting and it's a win or loss. And there's some people who are wired like that. But when that happens, I'm sorry, when you lose on something that's not like a standard football play, there's no handicapping that. Like there's nothing you can do. Right? If you lose a game and your team committed 20 penalties, at least afterwards you could say, you know what? Maybe I could have looked a little bit deeper into this matchup. There's nothing you can do about this. It was a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown 100% of the time, and it ended up not being one.
So let's make it a hat trick. Like I do believe in bad beats. I don't believe they're Santa Claus.
Right.
That being said, like even from China's POV, I would respect it if this is like someone who bet the Colts. He's like, my side was the Colts. I had Colts money line, and I lost. Like that's a wash to me.
Not a bad
But
beat.
because it is like the singular big priced number, this isn't the wash in your mountain of minus 110 sides that you're playing. This is different. Even from his POV, I feel like he should see these specific ones as different. Ones that'll pay 50x, 10x,
Agreed.
5x are not the one-off.
And I really like China. I don't think he believes this. I don't think he honestly believes this. I think he realizes he's found a good beat.
No, I disagree with you.
A good bet. It's a good heel. I do not think he believes that.
So I think he might be leaning into it more.
He's definitely doing that.
At that volume, I get why he believes it.
No, sure. Maybe he doesn't look at bad beats for his own bets, but I don't think he actually believes that this Adonai Mitchell play wasn't a bad beat for the prop father.
No, but you're basically accusing China of right now as being like the Skip Bayless of sports betting. He's not. He definitely believes what I will say he's pouring gasoline on the fire almost intentionally. But he genuinely believes this was not a bad beat.
I think he thinks it's a funny bet, and he realizes it's a clear heel take that people won't like.
Yeah.
I think if you gave him truth serum, he would say that this play was a bad beat.
I don't agree with you. I don't think he would. I genuinely believe he just thinks that you're betting. Sports has randomness. It has variance. Like, whatever. You just deal with it and you move on. I think that's the way he is wired as a person.
That is a good message, but you can also feel aggrieved when something like this happens. Okay, so there was another part of the show that was actually going to be right at the end of the show.
Yep.
But because somebody asked it in the chat, I'm going to move it up to right now, which goes with this conversation.
Okay.
Mitch in the chat said, China also said the Indiana NCAA game wasn't a bad beat.
It's not.
So this is
very different.
So if anybody doesn't know, Indiana versus Iowa. Indiana is up by 7 points in their own territory with 4 seconds left on the clock. It's 4th and 19. They snap. They set up like it's going to be a punt. They snap it back. The guy catches the ball, runs into his own end zone, lays down for a safety. I believe the spread in this game was 6.5.
Yes.
So this
changed the spread.
This changed the spread. Now, I was alerted to this because this also happened in the NFL yesterday. The Eagles did the exact same thing. Right before the Eagles did it, I thought, why would they not just run this back into their end zone for a safety? That's the obvious move to win the football game. You almost guarantee you win the game. In fact, your win percentage, I think, is the highest if you do that other than anything else. But that didn't affect the spread. This did affect the spread. Somebody who was upset was Pam Maldonado, who does betting-related content, who says, I literally don't understand what. Yeah. I don't understand how you cannot understand that the team has pretty much guaranteed they're going to win the football game by doing this, and it is the smart play to do.
They're just running out clock. This happens more and more regularly. Will continue to happen more and more regularly. We will continue to hear I don't understand.
From?
This is not a bad beat, though. That's what I'm
Just
saying.
curious.
He ran back quite a ways. It was
lot.
The 40-yard line.
We spoke about this exact thing last week.
This is a smart football play.
No. Totally disagree. This was one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen.
Because he almost got caught.
Why would you run at your end zone when you can get caught and potentially fumble? He could have ran back and then out of bounds.
Okay.
This one I do think was a bad beat because it was so far, and it actually was, to me, an unbelievably stupid play because obviously the game was over, 99.999%. So it wasn't that likely he was going to get caught and fumble. But the guy chases him down, and he keeps getting closer to the end zone. The only way that this game wouldn't be over is if somehow the guy caught him and forced a fumble.
So the problem with going out of bounds or just going down is this guy he can't see the clock in real time. So he can maybe have an internal clock of whatever, there's 5 seconds left. I'm going to count it in my head, but you can never be sure. You don't want to be the guy that goes out of bounds at your own 2-yard line or 5-yard line, and there's 1 second left on the clock. So he's just basically running as far as he can because he knows it's going to extend. It's going to take as much time off the clock. To me, this is just a smart football idea, maybe bad execution. Even Philly, Tampa Bay yesterday, what Jacob's talking about, it was Jalen Hurts running back. It was the punter, I think. Punter ran back.
That's the only stupid thing about it is why even have the punter do it? Just get Saquon
Yeah,
Barkley
that's
to
what
do
I was
it.
gonna say.
Exactly,
Why is it the
because
punter
Tampa
here?
Bay knew it was happening, and they almost caught the guy too.
Get Saquon to do it because he's the best at not dropping the ball and the fastest and the best
100%.
at evading contact.
So this guy
that
made
doesn't
up
make sense.
so much ground, number 2 on 15 here.
Oh, 100%. So, from that point of view, you can say execution, very poor, which I agree with. But from a simple strategy standpoint of Indiana doesn't not give a shit if they cover the spread. They're trying to beat Iowa on the road here. The best way for them to beat Iowa is to not punt the ball and risk a punt block. It's just to run out the clock. And I'm totally fine with this.
And in the replies, Pam was saying, like, why would you not just run a play and throw it away? Well, if you try to throw it away, you can get sacked. As you're throwing it, you could fumble it. The throw could be a bad throw and you could get picked off. Like, there are so many other variables. This turn around, fucking run, and then lay down when you get in the end zone and the game is over. Your win percentage is the highest by doing that.
In fairness to her, you could do that. You could have your quarterback just roll out and launch a moon ball. Just throw it as high as they can into the air, out of bounds on the sidelines. It probably lands with time expired. Like, there's countless ways you can do it. But the difference between this, in my opinion, and A.D. Mitchell is like, this makes sense it's Nick Chubb going down at the 1 yard line.
This increased their win percentage.
Exactly. This is a legit football play that was thought out. And listen, it's gonna suck if you lose.
For sure, it sucks.
For sure, terrible feeling to lose a game like this. But you can understand why one of the teams did it. With the A.D. Mitchell thing, you cannot process how that can possibly happen. Like, it should never happen. It's just a free run into the end zone. So that, to me, is the difference between the two.
Agreed. I think A.D. Mitchell's a worse beat, but like if this happened to me, I'd still lose my mind.
Of course, man. I'm not sleeping at night after this. I can smoke. I can hit the bong 17 times. I'm still going to be awake for the entire night after this.
100%.
All right. So that's no longer coming up in the show. So we'll just get into our next topic, which is the Super Bowl halftime show. It was revealed yesterday that it's gonna be Bad Bunny who is headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, in real time, I was checking right before the 1 p.m. games where the odds were, and I saw Bad Bunny had shot up a lot that day, so I kind of expected this announcement to come. Anyways, there were mixed emotions from people about Bad Bunny being the selection for the Super Bowl halftime show. Notably, I don't believe he performs in North America. He also does his music in Spanish, so I don't really understand how this is going to go down. But there's now markets up on Kalshi, where you can bet on who will perform alongside or who will feature in the Super Bowl halftime show. Cardi B has a 63% chance. Post Malone has a 10% chance. Dua Lipa has a 6% chance. Notably, Bad Bunny is at 99%. So there's still that 1% chance that he doesn't perform for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, you're betting on Bad Bunny to have a life-threatening illness or something at that point?
Something could happen.
I think Bad Bunny knows a good bet.
Bad Bunny. Oh, here we go. Okay, first of all, I'm very interested in this.
Well, hang on. But what Kirk thought was a good bet was Taylor Swift back when it was at 10%. Jeff, you thought that wasn't a good bet. I was going to lead off with you.
No, not when it was at 10%.
I was going to say Jacob buried the lead here, which is like...
all right, let it out.
I just didn't. I didn't even know the case. It's just like you are, and the numbers and the betting and the edges, like off the charts. But this is just like a complete life miss. I don't even know what the case is. She's bigger than the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is beneath her. And then the obvious facts of like the potential of it being her husband's last year on a Super Bowl contending team. There's just no way. There's just no way this is a life miss. She will do the Super Bowl, but it is when the star isn't as big. And I like hit Flup up and he's like you guys talking about it. Who are the friends? Like, please tell, if it's Diggs, let him know he can have a shot at my trust fund. That's what I told, because he's the
big Swiftie.
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe it's him. Like, Flup, if it's Diggs, let him know he could send my kids to public school. But it wasn't. But I just didn't even understand the case, other than like Easter eggs on Reddit. I didn't understand.
And I'm not gonna defend it. Look, I know Kalshi sponsors the show, so this maybe isn't great for the sponsor, but they don't tell you how dumb you feel when you lose a bet like this.
Yeah.
Like, I bet real money on this, and honestly, today there were many bets yesterday I lost that were bigger numbers than this. There's no bet I feel more shame about. My partner, who I'm betting partner with, doesn't know. Like, we did the track today. He doesn't know that the negative
come up in the accounting.
He does not know that because I just cannot tell him.
Yeah.
So, just know that when you're making a bet like this, when you get it wrong, there is an extra amount of shame involved. But I think Bad Bunny, I haven't bet it yet, so maybe this is a stupid thing to say, but I don't think it's that good. At 1%, so he's not performing in North America. He's not performing in the U.S. on this current tour because he said that, due to potential ICE raids at his concert. So You know, but his fans got a lot. His
I
fans,
figured at a Super Bowl would be
his
fucking
fans,
crazy.
No,
dude.
but I think a lot of his fans look at it as like a statement and then look at this as hypocritical.
Sellouts. Yeah.
So I think that's a possibility. And then I also think that if like there are more, you know, ICE related arrests or there's a bigger like deal, it's plausible that at like 100 to 1 he could pull out. So I might buy some today.
I have no, like, I don't really even know who he is. I know he's shown up on wrestling
Jeff,
a bit,
I have
and
no-
sometimes
He's the caddy from Happy
No
Gilmore.
fucking
and
clue who
sometimes
Bad
I
Bunny is.
mistake Bad Bunny for that European dad's clothing line, Psycho Bunny.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Sure,
People
yeah.
will know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
I know
about. It's
what you're
not for
talking
me, but like I swear, it's like really, it's a European dad's wear. At least that's how I see it. This is just. I think he is gonna perform. I mean, if he decided to
Yeah,
do it.
but it's a 99% chance he will.
But I also think I have no issue with him performing. I don't like that stuff I didn't even know about. I don't even care. Music's universal. The thing I don't like is this is just like the NFL's intentional desire to push their international agenda. Like they have us. They have America. That's how they look at it at these owners meet. Like, we've got them. They are drinking from the tit. It doesn't matter what we do. There's a world of people out there. How do we interest them? This Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
So that is like the only reason I don't like it is it just plays up to everything. This every week international game, this potential of international division, that it all just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I'm with you.
Agreed.
I'm with you. When they're talking about every team playing a home game internationally, I actually shake when I hear that. I once had Hitman on one of the live watch-alongs, and I was testing his music knowledge because he said like he knows nothing about music, and he doesn't know who Bono is. Never heard of Bono, right?
That's crazy.
I kind of feel the same way when I got the push alert yesterday on my phone of like Bad Bunny's the suit. I'm like, I don't know. I'd never heard of Bad Bunny.
But did you know The Weeknd? I'm not trying to be
The Weeknd,
like,
I know, yeah, because
Bad
I,
Bunny does all his music in Spanish. If you don't
well, like
listen to Spanish
I used to
music,
play
don't
like
listen to
acoustic
it.
sets at like a local bar. I had to learn some Weeknd songs before. So like some other people would come up and they want to sing Weeknd. So I'm like, okay, I know The Weeknd, but Bad Bunny, I have no friggin' clue. Like I couldn't even tell you. I'm like,
I couldn't name a song, but I know he's absolutely fucking massive.
yeah,
Yes.
but
Massive.
But
that's
My-
like a
my
demarcation point in life when you no longer like know who the Super Bowl halftime act is.
It's
I
all-
actually don't think it is here because I think like for me I am pretty like I like pop music. I like people who are trending now, but Bad Bunny to me like I don't know him well other than I know that he's super popular.
Yeah, that's all I knew. I couldn't even tell you a song. I couldn't pick one up. I just knew even before yesterday, this guy is like huge.
Well, growing up, I used to go to nightclubs pretty regularly. I listened to radio. Like I would switch from station to station, and I mostly listened to like rock growing up. But I would go to clubs and I'd listen. You know, I'd hear hip hop. I'd hear pop. I would scan through the radio. I'd hear songs. Right now, I don't leave my house pretty much. When I do, I'm golfing. I'm not like I'm listening to Spotify. I'm putting on artists I like. I'm not exposed to any of this. Like I could sing you pretty much every Backstreet Boys and NSYNC hit growing up, even though I never, ever like listened to them by choice. But now I don't get it. But yeah, it seemed like, I don't know, I'm like, do people who know who Bad Bunny is? I had no idea. Caught me off guard.
If you do want to get involved in any of the markets that we showcased or any other markets potentially on Kalshi, make sure you sign up with the link that is in the description or the QR code that is on screen right now if you're watching in video. The link will be in the description throughout the entire episode if you do want to sign up there. Get involved with these markets and support the show in the process. Thank you again to Kalshi for sponsoring us here on Circles Off. Our next segment, we once again bring back Dr. Jesse Morse because he had for Thursday Night Football Jackson Smith and Jigba's over receiving yards, which were set at 79.5. He finished with 79. How do they know, he says. I thought that was really funny. Then I actually audibly laughed when I read the replies because Layman said, why would you bet the actual line? Always go lower. So Jesse Morse said 124, 103, and 96 receiving yards in his first 3 games. Cardinals struggling as perimeter wide receivers. If he didn't go catch less than the first half, he has this easy. So basically he's saying if he had just played better in the first half, my bet would have won. Like as if like that a bad beat almost. Like that's how fucking betting works. The first half also counts towards the game, doctor.
Yeah.
And then the other reply is Vegas knows always go a little lower. This is extra funny to me because at least like Jesse Morse got a good line, like, or at least better than Mark, like some others places. Because I had an under 84.5 on this one, so like he could have played an over. But like if you're going by layman's way of betting, which is taking a lower line, if you were to take a 84.5 over and you do bet it down, you could have also had 79.5 at just a shit price. So all of this is confusing. But Rob, the question that he asked. How do they know? How does Vegas know where the line is supposed to be?
Yeah, this one is one of my biggest pet peeves in all the how do they know crowd. How do they know? They don't. They don't know. He landed at 79. The total was 79.5. The market settled at 79.5. That is like a lot of totals are going to land around that number because that's what the market settled on. Where's Jesse Morse when fucking Puka Nacua has like 200 receiving yards? How did they know? They didn't. This receiving line was way lower. How about when like Mike Evans pulls a hamstring in the first quarter and leaves the game? Nobody knew that was going to happen.
Well, they did know because they wanted the under.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. I always go a little bit lower, of course. No, it's this crazy thing. Like, obviously, when there's all this liquidity on a market and everyone can bet into it, it's going to settle at a number that everyone deems is going to be a fair number. And guess what? A lot of times it's going to land close to that number because that's what was deemed to be the fairest number. And when that happens, yeah, market did a good job of pricing it. But when it doesn't, you never see this stuff afterwards. It's like this selective, how do they know it happens?
I've got a really good idea for Dr. Jesse Morse. A lot of sites offer like receiving yard bands or exact number. Like just bet, you know, if you see JSN 79.5, just bet them exactly 79, exactly 80. Of course, you'll make a lot of money doing that because Vegas knows.
I need to defend. Sorry before Jeff. I do need to defend Jesse Morse because he actually replied to this and said the number was really bad. The number's really bad if you like buy points like that. So at least he has that much presence of mind on this. But go ahead, Jeff.
Like the craziest thing happened. I was out. I was walking. It's like a busy light. And just as I got there, it turned red.
How did they know?
So I couldn't cry. It was like, oh, how did they know I was right here? Like, man. Like the lack of, yes, we have those moments. Like, oh, I was right on the number. Like, they're good at it. But, like, just use the smallest amount of critical thinking to just think of all the angles. But, like, guys go over, guys, like, all of it. That's it. It doesn't take like much brain power to realize they actually don't know.
From a pure stats base, if you're doing like a distribution of outcomes, the most likely occurrence is that it will land near the number. That's the most likely occurrence. If the total is 79.5, the most likely outcome for JSN in that game is going to be around 79.5.
It's crazy how in the fourth quarter, Hitman is sweating all these bets that are really close to the numbers. Exactly. It's like amazing how that happens every week.
And it's just so many people feeding into one market, but it's the collection of people betting into the market that are helping price the number. It's not like a Vegas knows anything. And of course, like on a weekly basis, you can go through a million stat lines across sports where somebody greatly overachieved or underachieved. We never hear about that. We never hear how Vegas knew when the star wide receiver had 1 catch for 7 yards or when he had 14 catches for 200 yards. Vegas didn't know in those instances. But if it comes close, they know.
I'm going to make a quick generalization here. Just because you're smart in this guy graduated medical school. Maybe he's not the smartest doctor in the world, but to graduate medical school is an accomplishment. But just because you are smart in one area of life does not mean you are smart in all areas of life. Mm-hmm. This guy knows nothing about betting. Just stick to being a doctor.
It's a great point. Some people, they cash a lot of money betting on sports. Then they try to bet Taylor Swift to be halftime performer at Super Bowl. They go out of their lane.
Isn't she the year she's getting married?
She's going to get married next year.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I guess, no, she'll be married 2026.
Yeah, I was just going to throw in the...
Yeah, just more pour more gasoline on the
something
fire.
else.
All right.
You know, more salt in the wound.
Well, we'll move into our next topic, which is in regards to gambling-related content. And Todd Furman shared this one on Twitter. So there was a pre-game show for Penn State against Oregon on Saturday. It was a whiteout game for Penn State, massive game. And the line right before the game started was 3.5 in favor of Penn State. And there was a show, the pre-game show, which was recorded here and posted to Twitter, has the host of this show who says the public loves Penn State, which is why they're all the way at 3.5, which is already the first thing he said that's wrong about the betting market. Then he says, I'm instead going to buy down to 2.5 at DraftKings, which is the sponsor of the segment, not mentioning price, which was brought up by Todd Furman, which was minus 158, when the money line was at minus 175. So the biggest frustration here is that these sportsbooks are sponsoring these betting segments, but have people on these segments as their quote-unquote experts who don't know enough about the industry or severely underqualified to be discussing it anywhere, let alone on national television. Kirk, we'll lead off with you on this one. Do you have any issues with this? What are your thoughts on it?
No, I don't have any issues with this. Like, there's so much gambling content, and this is playing to the absolute lowest of like the totem pole of like whatever, if we're gonna say rec plus, like this is just playing to, this is like the most filler. It's just to get DraftKings on the screen.
Yep.
No one is taking this seriously, and if they are, they're just losing money betting in other ways if they're not gonna listen to this. No one watching this cares about price. No one listening to this guy cares like at all what he has to say if they even have a shred of knowledge about betting. Like, there's just so much betting content out there that when it's like this, it's there has to be some that's like, yeah, absolutely horrible. I don't think people would be interested if someone was like, you know, if teasing 3.5 to 2.5 is actually a bad price. No one would care. I think this is mostly a nothing burger.
I mean, I'm not surprised that the sportsbook simp is also a sportsbook branded gambling coverage simp as well. I do agree with a lot of points you're making. Like, you have to understand the audience, and like this is not going to be the place where you're giving out college picks to explain the difference between buying points and a money line. With that said, I do generally have a problem with the fact that the betting space seems to be the only space that really allows non-experts to be analysts in.
But like stock market,
I guess. I mean, I guess a lot of financial sectors kind of let it happen. I don't know what the solution is, though, and that's why it's hard for me to take big issue with it. I will say, I take issue with Todd saying, like, this is where we are with sportsbook branded gambling coverage. That is true. Generally, like, a sponsor like DraftKings probably wants people who are giving out picks. They're sponsoring Barstool content. For us, our sponsors, Kalshi on this show, FanDuel on others, and so on and so forth, we've been able to dictate the terms of like what we're going to do as part of those sponsorships. So I don't think it's just like this blanket sort of situation where, you know, the sports books are dying for you to put out bad advice. I don't think that's the case. They just want people to talk about gambling. And I used to really be upset with this stuff, and I'd be like, why don't they get like some true experts in there to talk about it? The problem is that like it's not realistic. Like, which experts, pros that are making, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars betting are going to go on TV to share like picks with it's not going to happen. So like, I don't know that there's a solution in the ecosystem at this point other than what's going on right now. And how can you blame like the hosts and the analysts? Like me and you, Geoff, worked together in radio in our early and mid 20s. I got thrust into an on-air role on a radio station where I was a degenerate losing bettor, giving out picks, but I thought it was the opportunity of a lifetime. What am I going to say? Like, no, don't put me on air because I don't know what I'm talking about. I thought I knew what I was talking about, for one, and two, it's an opportunity. So, like, I don't know what the solution is to the problem that Todd is putting forward.
Okay, just a couple clarifications. I want to say this was on NBC.
I watched the full segment,
so
and I don't remember.
Like, I don't know, put something like this on like public airways.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a little discouraging. And I could be wrong here. The host, I can't remember his name. I just think he's a fantasy guy. I think he's part of Matthew Berry's
Yeah,
fantasy life operation. I think he's good does stuff with
Croucher?
Crouchick. Yeah.
Croucher. Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name either. I think I've watched a lot of like videos with him, Croucher, and Barry, you know, just trying to set some lineups. Ooh.
Some whale capper in there as well.
I don't know about that stuff, but yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. It just sucks. And like, if you're doing that, my only thing is this guy knows enough where he could literally like text Crouch, just give me like something close to like decent to like throw out there tonight. Like, he knows enough people where he could have put in 20 seconds, sent off 2 DMs to a couple different people that he knows are pretty sharp. Be like, just give me something. I got to go to air. And then had given him something that didn't make him look like an idiot.
I understand Todd's frustration, because if I watch this segment and you hear someone talking about buying points and you know what you're doing, I don't know what it is, but like, it would frustrate me watching that. I think that's kind of like counterintuitive to also the entire, like, just give out a pick at a widely available number instead of buying down to 2.5 on an NBC branded segment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems.
But it's just like that love of like the casual once under that field goal, because it's just like the mental peace that brings.
Yeah. But I also do think like people prior to games, like predicting stuff where they have no edge in predicting and there's no accountability, has always happened. The only difference now is that it's like branded by a sportsbook. You know, like they would always go to people before, you know, an NFL game, and they still do, you know, like, who's your pick? I think the general problem is I would prefer that none of this stuff was branded by sportsbooks right pregame.
Wouldn't it be cool to see like the data, the real-time data on how many people made, like the DraftKings data on how much action was put on that bet in like the moments following the segment? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Sure. I would love to see that. That would. I would think it's very low. I think that the thing that
there's got to be people doing it.
I would say there's some. I bet you there's just as many people who are fading the picks. Honestly, who might watch something happen in real time.
I disagree just as many.
Okay, like a subset of people. I think ultimately the only real problem I have with those types of segments are when they brand the analyst as like a gambling expert. I think that needs to go. Like, if you say we're bringing in our sports betting expert, Aaron Kate Dolan, like, I'm done. And that should not be allowed, frankly. Like, I don't know how we determine who gets that, you know, nomenclature next to their name, sports. But very clearly, I can tell you that guy isn't, just based off of watching a 30-second video. I can tell you that a lot of people in the space aren't. And it's when they are branded that way, I think it could potentially cause problems, because it gives them a level of validity. It's almost like a certification, right? Where in other fields, there usually is a certification.
Yeah, I just think like people pontificating on screen, like, to me that's like very actually pretty standard amongst a lot of things. Betting is a bit different because it's like very direct to money versus like in the past maybe like predictions, it wasn't necessarily there that they were betting.
Can I respond to something in real time?
Sure.
Because Broner tweeted at me like angry because of the Bad Bunny International Agenda comment.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's American, you dude. Here's the thing. He has an enormous foreign fan base.
Yeah.
That was the point. Sorry I didn't speak to the citizenship, but his foreign fan base is exactly what the NFL is looking for. That is the point that I made. He's American, sure. His fan base
is what the NFL's after.
Yeah, and that's a foreign fan base. I don't care. I'll die on that hill.
That's a pretty ridiculous tweet. I mean, like, it's obvious what you meant. Obviously, you meant the fan base is the bigger draw. Anyways.
Well, it is what it is. This one in particular, I don't know. We probably will have 1 million of these on the show till the end of time, where someone on a national program says something really dumb, and we don't like it. Obviously, is dumb. But what are we going to do about it is basically what it comes down to.
But it's like a dude, there could be like a painter on Good Morning America. And then there's a dude who's been painting houses for 40 and be like, that guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, it doesn't matter what it is. For us, we notice the gambling. There's people in all walks of life that like notice that with like everything.
It's a sad state of affairs.
Real estate market experts on CP24.
I think
exactly
telling you where the market's going to go.
Like, just the ratio in sports
screwing over the people. And we're talking about like an 8-cent line.
Yes.
No, I understand. I just think that relative to those other fields, like let's say the relationship between people who know what they're doing and don't in sports betting is much wider gap. But you're right. I totally agree.
All right, we'll move into the comments from the previous show. If you guys do want to get involved with the conversation, if you're watching live, get involved with the chat, as you can see, where we're interacting with the chat live. You can reply us on Twitter. We brought up that as well. But afterwards, you can get in the comment section down below. We like to feature some of our favorite comments to discuss something for next week's show. So comment something down below. While you're down there, make sure you've hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. We just hit 20,000 subs. We thank you for that, but want to keep going for the rest of 2025. So first comment up. Somebody agreed with you, Geoff. It was a comment from Jeff O'Reilly. Jeff, Jeff, says, never agree with someone more than Jeff's rant about Tom Brady.
That's a good one.
Just wish you had the proper spelling of our name, because you are, of course, Geoff. But yes, the Tom Brady remarks.
That's on my mom and whatever. Yeah. Sure. And then the chutzpah of this Tom Brady, this Saudi slurper, to come out last week and question people's like integrity and morals who are questioning him.
Yeah.
Like next level. He's like staring you straight in the eye. Like the gaslighting by Tom Brady here, truly incredible. It won't matter though. Like none of it will matter until the Raiders are good again.
Yeah.
That's really what this comes down to.
Right. I will say also, until the last, I love the rants on Brady, by the way, and totally agree with you. I think he's kind of like lacks self-awareness to not understand why people would view this as an issue. Until a couple years ago, I probably never called Geoff in his entire life. He was only known as Geoff around the office before because of the way he spells his name. But yeah, it's only a recent development that he's Geoff to me.
Just
go ahead.
Quick aside. I asked ChatGPT to break down Bad Bunny's international versus domestic percentage, and Geoff is totally right. It's way more international than any comparable artist.
Wow, AI has spoken.
There you go.
AI simp here as well.
I'm definitely an AI simp.
The next one comes from Loathsome Lettuce, who says, my definition for a bad beat is something flipping in the final minute that only bettors would care about. So parentheses, not the actual game result like Falcons/Patriots, which is the 28-3 game. That is completely unpredictable and arguably stupid of the player to even do. The Eagles game is 100% textbook bad beat, because I mean that's like the ultimate bad beat, because the right play was to just fall on the ball. But
yeah,
what do you guys think on this?
So I would argue I don't agree, because he's defining it as something that happens in the final minute. I think the definition that I tried to come up with was when it had like greater than a 99% chance of happening at some point in the game and then didn't happen. Like the A.D. Mitchell example would not qualify as a bad beat for this person because it didn't happen in the final minute. But to me, when he is running untouched down the sideline into the end zone, there's nearly a 100% chance he's going to score a touchdown. For that not to happen is a bad beat. So that's I don't know.
This reads more like spreads and totals.
I guess.
Because obviously a player prop can happen mid-game and be a bad beat, versus this is more, typically it does happen right at the end of the game if it's a spread and total. But yeah, I agree. It's just like, it's hard to, I feel like we're all circling around the same thing.
Yeah. we all, I would love to have to eventually though get to a universal
real
definition of a bad beat. I would love for that to happen. It never will, but one can dream.
Well, the issue with the lack of a universal definition is that a lot of the comments from the previous show were people giving us their bad beats, which was like, I had one leg left of my 16-leg parlay that didn't win.
Yeah.
I spent they said
well,
I spent
this
like
is a good
$2 on
one.
it. Well, this one is good. I'm going to bring up.
This
is a good one. This is a good example. But a
What
bad
was I trying to
example.
say to this?
A bad example of a bad beat is my $2 SGP had one leg left. So here is the good example I saw, because a lot of people did share their bad beat stories. Crafter1234 says the worst beat I've ever had was a bet on a soccer team. They were winning by 2 goals in extra time until someone threw a firecracker at the goalie that exploded. The game got canceled and the bet was voided. I hope the goalie was okay. I don't know context. The game was replayed. The team I bet on lost, but his bet got voided. That was about to win. Yes, this is a bad beat. Absolutely. I mean, what is China going to say about this one? I mean, it's always possible for the game to get canceled. You never know. This is part of the game.
Once a week.
Here's what we're doing. New content idea. Anyone who's watching this back after the fact, and they can leave a comment down below on YouTube, I want you to post the worst bad beat you've had in your life. And we're going to get China to react to them in real time. We are going to pull them and have him do a video, and I want to see him with a straight face saying, no, this is not, or I want to see it happen.
You don't need to just put them in the comment section down below. What is another way they could send this stuff in, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. Circles off at thehammer.bet. We always have that email open if you do want to send stuff in. But we also have our Discord, discord.gg/hammer. Down in the description below. You can always post in the Circles Off channel there as well. And myself and Kirk are going to actually be bringing back some Q&As. We haven't had them in a long time. I used to do them with Johnny. I did a couple with Kirk. I think I did one with Kanish as well. A lot of people have been asking for them. Totally fine. Any questions you want to ask, leave them down below. Email us, circlesoff@thehammer.bet. Post them in our Circles Off Q&A channel on the Discord as well. But that's going to be getting back into the rotation here at the latter half of 2025. So any sports betting questions that you want answered about modeling, how to do this, how to do that, is this a good idea? Post them all. We will answer them.
I loved those episodes.
The Q&A.
And even like when you get Kanish there and then like someone asks a question like to rank like the 5 worst Twitter follows.
That was such a good
I mean, you
episode.
love that, but he ranked Playmaker Dave #1, and then Dave texted me for like 3 weeks straight after that, being like, can you get me on to respond? I'm like,
I've
I don't
got a
think so.
different game I told you I want to play.
Yeah.
Is Guess Dave's Burners.
Yeah, we Playmaker Dave's got some burners.
Yeah, we could get some game show music. Like this could be a
The
whole.
problem is that there's no. If we could actually unveil them after the fact, that would be amazing. But we don't know.
It'd be like the Masked Singer with burners.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I think there's one in the chat right now, actually. Anyways, we'll go to the next one, the next topic, which comes from Fozen Poker, who's made his return to Twitter, the much anticipated return to Twitter. And he quoted a tweet from Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy of Barstool, who posted a clip from Barstool Pick'em. He says, I think we came very close to our first tiers on Barstool Pick'em. This is Rico Bosco, right, in the middle?
Yeah.
So they were asking Rico Bosco to show the slip of a bet that he made. And he just outright refused to show the slip and almost started crying when they were asking him to show the slip. Like, they weren't pressing him. They were just saying, we don't think you bet this. Can you just show us the slip? He wouldn't show it, like just completely refused. He kept referring to gotcha culture, like, oh, I don't hate this gotcha culture. Or like, I think he even brought up unit shaming in this conversation. And so do you have context, Dad?
Well, I think you're just missing a little bit here. He does show a slip in the clip, but then one of the producers is like, is that a screenshot?
Yeah.
And he's like, gets really frazzled. And so the implication was that he went to Twitter, because I think it was a play posted on DraftKings, and he went to Twitter and just found someone else with the slap.
And for more context, a couple years ago, Rico claimed to have a future that he never actually had, and it turned into the show the slip, and then he finally admitted that he never actually had the future, but he was still celebrating when it was like coming up big.
Man.
I think it was USC related. So there's this backstory.
And Fozen quoted this by saying, this is how the 9-cent bet slip Discord owner reacts when they get asked for a screen recording of all the $500 bets they're supposedly making. Like, Rico Bosco broke down and almost started crying in this video. It's crazy.
You know, like the meme where there's like the kid and the vein is popping out of his forehead?
Yeah.
That's what Rico was like in that clip.
Yeah.
He was so agitated. I will say, I can't stand Rico Bosco. The Rico versus Nadeau stuff has to do a little bit with that, and I've become friends with Nadeau, so that plays into it. I can't stand Rico Bosco. I do got to say, though, I hate the bet slip, like show the bet slip culture as well, because as someone who used to frequently show bet slips, when you do, it's still so toxic. Like, you hit an SGP that pays like $10K on a $50 bet, and half the responses are like, oh, you only bet $50, you pussy, or whatever, this and that. I've lost accounts from showing bet slips that have accounts associated. there is almost zero upside in showing a bet slip. In this situation, I probably would have, because Portnoy and Big Cat are like basically flaming you, and you got to defend yourself, and I get it. But the toxicity of online culture, it's like, I remember long time ago, COVID, Jonathan Bales did the 2,400 push-ups in a day competition, right? Amazingly incredible feat to be able to do that. People are like, oh, like the form on the push-ups is no good. He's taking steroids. He's doing this. He's doing that. It's like you can't even get like accomplishments nowadays. You share them with the world, and people just shit on you for them. Like, there's no point. People message me all the time. Oh yeah, you bet that? Let me see the slip. I'm not posting this shit. I don't care. If you don't believe me, I literally don't give a shit anymore, because the upside is so low. I used to post these so regularly and just fucking get dumped
But what
on.
about unit shaming? Because in the right context, I feel like it's totally legit.
I agree.
Like a
totally.
hot mouth-running tout who thinks he's like God's gift and like never takes any accountability for anything.
Yes.
Right? And then shows like an $8 bet.
100%.
Like if you had the Pacers for $8 to win the NBA championship.
There's people all the time that I've beefed with on the internet that are like, they think they're God's gift to betting. They show a bet slip. It's like $100. What do you think I'm going to do, man? Like, you're a professional bettor and you're betting $100 on an NFL side on Tuesday of the week. I'm sorry. Let's pump the brakes on the professional bettor talk. Like, that I agree with unit shaming when I think there's context to shame someone. Am I going to shame someone who posts a $10 fucking picture on a $10 bet on Kalshi onto their account that like doesn't claim to be no, I'm not going to.
But back to Rico, like, I do think it's pretty embarrassing if you're giving out picks, parlays, and like you never bet them. I don't know. There's something that's like a bit gross about that. It even feels more like
Grosser than like DraftKings.
Yeah.
Like it's wagertainment, but it's like grosser than like the standard DraftKings gambling stuff.
Well, it just feels very like, and not necessarily that Rico knows, but it feels very much like you know that the bet is bad. You know the bet you're giving out is gonna lose money. You don't want to lose that money, but you know you have to push it on your fans. Versus like if you're actually betting it, it's like, okay, like we're having a fun together betting this.
I sometimes catch myself enjoying that show, and I'm just waiting for them to make Rico go off, and that's why I'll watch it at like 1.5 speed. But there's still enough times where I am listening to what they're saying, and they're breaking down a game, and it's like, what the quarterback looked like last week when they were watching. So no one actually watching, like, I think anyone watching that show knows what it is, and they're pretty transparent of like,
yeah.
But I think what it is that they're with them. Like Dave and Big Cat are betting, and it's like a community of betting together. So
Dave and Big Cat, like Dave's worth 100 gazillion.
No.
Big
but
Cat's worth
matter,
half that.
Jeff.
Like no one needs to see
but it
Rico's
doesn't matter.
$35
No.
Bet $35.
And it doesn't matter to like, if you're doing content and you are giving out a pick that you didn't bet, you should explicitly say that. You should say, listen, I don't really like this, but I'm being forced to make a pick here. You should.
I agree.
You should be real with the
I
honor.
agree.
But if you're claiming to bet something and you haven't, and then these guys are putting you on the spot, like, come on, Rico, let's see the slip. I mean, maybe just show it.
Rico's on like a spot where he's on a show where he's bet like the other two guys are betting like $50,000.
That's true. That's a good
on
point.
the game, and he's betting like 150, I would imagine.
But I think even if Rico bet $10, like then I would think that's totally fine.
I
He
agree.
wouldn't though. He wouldn't think that's fine. That's the difference. If he bet, it's like Zilbert. Zilbert bet those games. That he just bet them for such a little amount that he was too embarrassed to post the ticket. And there's lots of people who are like that, and I get it. I've gone after people before for not betting stuff. It's definitely a double standard, but unit shaming, I gotta say, it's warranted if the person's gonna walk around like they're big shit.
Totally.
Because if they're not, then they should be fucking shamed for that. Showing bet slips, I think I can go either way on this one. I think, though, if you are advocating that someone place a bet, it's in the best interest that you place it yourself as well. Okay. I think it looks shitty if you say, I like so-and-so this week, and then you don't bet it, or you go on the Thursday show afterwards, you know, and you're like, oh, I actually bet the other side of this after. Like, that's insane behavior to me. Really shitty stuff to do.
Agreed.
All right, that brings us to the final full-scale segment on the show today. I was originally going to put this in the chopping block, but decided to make it a full segment because Geoff told me that he has some thoughts on this one. So GRP had another big announcement on Saturday. It was a 5-minute video where he stated he was retiring from NFL sides and totals for the second consecutive week after breaking his retirement within days after retiring last time. And he talked about all of his futures positions in the past that he's done well on. What is great is that we have his big notebook from his Circa conference where he listed all his big futures positions for the season. I got to tell you, that list isn't looking fantastic. It's not there. It's actually in the other room. It's in the Hammer Daily room. It's actually not looking fantastic on his big positions for this season. But I think, we talk about the delusion meter versus the in on the joke meter. And we have, in the last 2 weeks, to me, really pushed the boundaries of the scale on the delusion side of things. But, Geoff, you're ready to go off. Go off.
So, like, peace and love. Like, George is my guy. But
I mean, you had like 17 breakfasts with him. He better be your guy. Been watching those videos.
This is so disappointing. And I'm going to have to just tell George, like, he can't do this. This isn't it. This is some of the worst content, bar none. What he is attempting to do with, like, he thinks he's going to get away with weekly status reports of his futures positions. You might as well. Why don't I just go into a drawer, pull out some scorecards from rounds of golf, and read hole by hole?
Yeah.
Why don't I just tell you about my fantasy bad beat stories? Why doesn't someone just tell me about, like, their poker hands?
I fucking love your first idea, by the way. Love it.
This is a horrific idea. Like, this is in the pantheon of things no one gives a fuck about, that no one wants to hear about. Maybe in the final weeks of the season, catch us up on where the futures are. But if you think you're going to get away with, like, your content being a weekly status report of where these futures are sitting, fuck no, George. No fucking way.
Yep.
No way. That's bottom barrel content.
Agreed.
Doesn't matter what the hair looks like.
Wow.
I mean it.
He got a fresh
this is like
haircut
fucking
I would do it.
Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Hulk Hogan one.
Oh, that's another.
I had the Hulk Hogan photo ready.
It pained me in week 2 that my Chargers sent him into retirement and into the prolong the spiral.
Yeah.
But this is so bad. This will not work. This will not fly. Drop it immediately.
This was the first George video we've had in a rundown where I couldn't make it through. Like,
that was my exact take.
I'm just like, again, we're doing this again. Big announcement coming.
And then let alone this. Like,
I decided to have my lunch while I watched it before the show.
He is now the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah.
Like, George, we're like a month ago you had integrity. No, that's the wrong word. A month ago, like, you had some panache. Always full of integrity.
I think when George was on the scene.
Always full of integrity. But now, no. He can't keep doing this. He is killing himself.
He was beloved with the Chernoff shtick last year. Tracking him on Mitch and Paulie, monitoring all that. People ate that up. But the second he started selling, and it's gone down this dark turn now, where people are like, George, like, you're the guy that was calling people out before. Now you fucking suck at your picks. Like, what's going on here?
Hero becoming the villain.
You told me this before, and I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure there will be a moment where he pulls me back in with something. But right now...
No. I always believe George is capable of pulling us back in. Even when he bores you, you think you're done. There's going to be something. If, like, he said, like, if this is his committed shtick... It's got no fucking chance. And that's friend to friend. That's peer-to-peer advice.
He's engagement farming at this point. Like, he is 100% engaged. And once that becomes apparent to the audience, it loses the luster. when I thought this was like a real thing for a long time, and I think it was, I was very entertained. But now it's just putting out a video for the sake of saying I put out a video and trying to... The poll he posted last week about... I can't remember. It was something
like
about porn and...
Red zone or porn?
Yeah, red zone or porn.
That was really
like
bad.
we're getting into the point now. I'm done. I'm honestly done. I would like a break. I would like a 2 to 3 week hiatus from GRP Wins content, if possible. Unless something really happens where we got to talk about it. I can't even make it through these videos anymore.
No, I mean, like, he should go on. He is oversaturating himself.
I agree.
With nothing.
Yep.
Come on, George.
He really needs to find a snake under one of those boards. He really needs to plant a snake.
All it takes is one snake or almost burning down his house, cooking steaks in the garage to win me back.
Yeah.
But for the moment, this shtick cannot fly.
George, if I were you, go out, find yourself a boa constrictor or something, put it under one of those boards, and act surprised when you flip it over.
That fucking video when he told Geoff he's never even fucking found a snake. He has the boards, he has the snake hook, he's never even fucking found
I never
one.
laughed so hard. Geoff was going in real close, and George was like scared. Like, oh, you're getting in there. Geoff's like, I
don't
guarantee
think
you,
there's one
there
under
is
there.
not a snake here, George. I guarantee you.
All right, last segment on the show is, of course, the chopping block. And there was 3 things in the chopping block, and now 2 of them aren't in the chopping block. So there's just one thing in the chopping block, but there's one
Poor
certain
Zilbert. Zilbert's going to have a stroke when his favorite segment only has one item.
I had to feature it because, you know, there is somebody who's just coming off of a losing MLB season that might need some cheering up. And so we'll flash the graphic on screen for him. But the only thing in the chopping block today comes from Prop Bomb, who runs a Discord with NBA picks. Says it's not really my place to speak up, but I can't stand what gambling, Twitter, and pixeling culture has become. And this is actually something you guys said earlier on today. He talked about the pixeling culture and things like that. He then continued, it's ruined the reputation of the good guys who are transparent, lumping them in with scams. Sad to see. Kirk, I think, has been the most anti-pixeller of us 4. So I kind of wanted your thoughts on how this is being described here.
Yeah, well, I just think this is funny because I think this is true of like really all people with like cognitive dissonance. Like everyone thinks they're good,
Bingo.
but they can look at the others and say, oh, but they're the bad ones. Like Prop Bomb, I will give him some credit. I think he's very far from the worst pick seller, but he also has me blocked on Twitter for like, I'm sure criticizing some like shitty tactic he did in pick selling. Like it just, no one views themselves as like, I'm the bad one. So, you know, he's the good pick seller, but he can see how pick selling can be really bad. But of course, that's not him. But somehow, every pick seller I talk to
Is in the same boat.
is a good one, but all the other ones are the bad. Who are the bad pick sellers then?
You know what, Kirk? You said it so well. That's it. I understand the message because he probably feels this. But like all the pick sellers feel this, and it's like this way. I will say, not every pick seller is a scam. I think we've talked about this a million times. I still think you should just avoid at all costs, especially if you can't determine what's a scam and what's not. Just avoid everything. But every pick seller thinks that their reputation is good, and it's either they're lying to the audience or they're lying to themselves in some capacity. But I'm sure tons of people feel this exact same way, but I bet you that the vast majority of them, if they took a step back and looked at themselves from the outside looking in, they're one of the people that's ruining the reputation of everyone else. It's a really crazy industry where people convince themselves that they're the be-all, end-all. I got a guy who's making fun of me every single day on one of his forums, down 72 units in the year. I mean, what are we doing here? You know? 80 units. Thank you, Jason. Like baseball futures got graded today. Somehow Geoff got the 3 winners. Everyone else got all the losers. Like you got people in the forums who are like, how do you expect me to bet this? You switched to a high volume strategy. I was betting, a couple $100 a week. Now I'm betting $6,000 on a college Saturday. Like, what are we doing here? And I'm the one that's the bad guy in the space. Like, think about the delusion that's going on. And I think you encapsulated it really well, Kirk.
All right. That's it for the show today. Then thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to Circle Back on the Circles Out channel. Make sure you're subscribed to keep up to date with all of our content. We do Circle Back shows live Monday at 1 p.m., pre-recorded Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And then we also have some fun Wednesday content coming at you every week. Last Wednesday, it went over very well. I would recommend checking out that episode and everything else we have at the Hammer Betting Network by going to the links in the descriptions. Once again, thank you, and we will see you again next time.